Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala khayril mursaleen, Muhammadin al-Nabi al-Ummi, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, we sent Noah to his people. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no other God but Him. And I fear for you the punishment of a dreadful day. The leaders of his people said, we see thee evidently wandering in mind. He said, O my people, no wandering is there in my mind. On the contrary, I am a messenger from the Lord and cherisher of the worlds. To the Ad people we sent Hud, one of their own brother. He said, O my people, worship Allah. You have no other God but Him. Will you not fear Allah? The leaders of the unbelievers amongst his people said, we see thou art an imbecile, and we think thou art a liar. He said, O my people, I am no imbecile, but I am a messenger from the Lord and cherisher of the worlds. But I fulfill toward you the duties of my Lord's mission. I am to you a sincere and trustworthy advisor. I reread those from last week just as a reminder of those who try to bring a relevance of truth and those who flim-flam people. The people who flim-flam usually get the most material rewards and gains, and the people welcome them. They buy Cadillacs, Benzes, and everything else. But to those people who come with a sincere message, as Hud is saying, I am your sincere advisor. Now this is what Shaitan says also. He said, I'm giving you good advice, man. I'm with you. Sometimes the people can't tell the difference. But I wanted to review a little bit about kind of what our general program is about. Because, as we said earlier, a few months back, we're not going to deal with 4, 5, 6 different subjects for the next year or two, because that's our focus. But before going into that, today is what they used to call VE Day, Victory in Europe Day. Have you been watching RT a little bit?
I haven't. I've been out all day.
Oh, okay. Well, they got, since last night, they've been on a roll. This is the day of victory in Europe, when they signed the treaties, the Germans surrendered May the 9th. So they have hundreds and thousands of people marching. That's when they have their parades, and they have pictures of grandfathers, great-grandfathers that fought in what the Russians are calling the Great Patriotic War.
Right.
And the same subject we was talking about a week before last downstairs, with our brother from Detroit. They was talking about Leningrad and Stalingrad. They were asking people in the West, What do you think the biggest battle of World War II was? Most people just say, I don't know. Some people in the little knowledge would say Midway or something like that. And one person said, no, it was Stalingrad. Americans have done such a huge job of pumping up D-Day, you know, that was a turning point. That wasn't a turning point. By the time D-Day happened, June 6, 1944, the Russians was already running the Germans back into Germany. 80%, 75–80% of the Germans killed in World War II was killed by Russians. So they call it the Great Patriotic War. The Chinese have what they call a Long March. That was 1934 and 1935. When they fought a defensive battle over 6,000 miles, you know, when you're being attacked and you avoiding and they try to encircle you and suppress you, that is the greatest epic in modern Chinese history. They celebrate it just like the Russians celebrate Victory in Europe Day. But they don't call it VE Day anymore. They used to call those days like VE Day, Victory in Europe, and then they used to have VJ Day, Victory in Japan, which is sometime in August. But what it's talking about is the long struggles. It mentions also that the Russians lost 27 million people. Now, in the Chinese, there's no record. I don't know how many millions of people they lost. But whether it's the Great Patriotic Day or what have you been watching RT a little bit lately?
I don't know.
Have you seen the big victory marches they've been having?
Overseas?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm making a point that every people have had some great challenge like that. And other people discount it. The Americans, no American will sit right here and tell you in some lecture about Stalingrad. And now people might realize when I say Stalingrad to Oakland, when we realized that Stalingrad was a turning point of World War II, it started to happen in late 42, but by 40, in January 43, it was all over for the Germans. They got surrounded, and then they started, they lost, got 300 and some thousand people captured, and only 6,000 of them made it back to Germany. The rest froze to death and starved to death. And there was such brutality because the Germans had taken so much of Russia. And over 500 miles they had came in on through the whole front. And the Russians used a scorched earth policy. They burned everything. But they didn't burn the Germans. In any factories they had, they took the factories apart and took them back to way back beyond German bombers and what have you. Basically, the Chinese did exactly the same thing. They dismantled everything and they rolled it all back to Chongqing and other places. And then they left that whole big area. In China, they used all kind of things against the Japanese, but in Russia, they just had to wait for the winter to kick in. And that's what did them in. So the Chinese had their long march, a defensive battle of 6,000 miles. That's to California and back. You're being chased and bombed from the air. you walk the same, not only that same distance from California back to here, I mean all the way to the coast and back, but you go through the same type of landscape.
Right, swamps and everything.
Oh my, have you ever seen, did you see, oh my goodness.
Every mountains and swamps,
They
everything.
started off with their nice little summer uniforms, and then they hit the mountains,
Yeah.
and they go on over that. So, the main point that I'm trying to make here today is we're not squeamish about the little stuff we deal with, and the time we're dealing with it, and it is a critical time. It is as critical. What the people was dealing with then, that's what we're dealing with now. The other thing is, we want to try to arrange the world where we don't have to go through that. Personally, I've been watching a lot of, I've seen them 10,000 times, a lot of documentaries on war. Even I looked at Ken Burns' thing again on the Civil War. And that's when they first brought cameras out and they show hundreds and thousands of people, bodies just rotting. You know what I mean? And war seems so stupid, man. It's so dumb. You know, the only way you can get me personally in a war is that if you're attacking our real, our homeland, our motherland, our families, our wives and children, they're there and all that. And then we're being invaded, we have to defend. But to draft somebody to go slaughter people somewhere, they'd have to send me directly to the penitentiary. If they could ever catch me. It's insane. The world that we live in, it doesn't have to be this way. Starvation, hunger, all kind of AIDS and this, that, it is not necessary. It's not been necessary for at least 50 to 60 years because of engineering, because of technology. There's no necessity for starvation and hunger anywhere because we still plow undercrops in America. I don't know the tonnage, but if we didn't plow it under, the price would be so cheap they wouldn't make their money back for it. So they have to pour out milk, destroy, keep the prices up. In a world ran by money, money will be the determining factor. Imagine all the housing we have in America and people are homeless. That's insane. That means we've left somewhere realistic, what was the tribal areas we lived in, or the families. Even when we moved to the north and the west, we still had a southern character where if you was walking up and down the street acting a fool, any older person could whoop your behind. Or if you looked hungry, they'd bring you in and feed you. This type of thing is so far gone, people don't even think about that anymore. And the distribution of goods and services is so haphazard, and money, if they say America has freedom of speech, let's say, well, in a way they do. So, if you give a guy in the Congress $25,000 and I give him $20, $25, and he looks at the check, he look at us, and he ain't gonna even see the other guy, but he'll say, yeah, whose money is gonna speak? I have the freedom to give him $25, and the other guy have the freedom to give him 25,000 or 25 million. If he's a company, now there's no more. So how do they expect to have any Congress, any Senate, any Supreme Court to it's going to do anything for the people. It's not possible because the controlling factor is money. Yes.
It's the best democracy that money can buy.
Best democracy money can buy. And then it's not even the best money can buy, because if this is democracy, you know, the Europeans always saying, democracy is messy, but it's the best that we have. I say, you ain't letting nothing else spring up. You use your army, military, and all these informers. You ain't letting nobody try nothing. What do you mean? It's the best you can get. It's the best you didn't let survive because you in pocket. But the same old rules. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Health care, all of that. We have the physical ability to produce a global utopia. It's just possible. And it don't really take no whole lot of work. It just takes the human being thinking about it and wanting to do it. He just under the control of forces. So I read those ayat about that every messenger was sent to the people from amongst their own, and they said the same thing. Man, we'll go one more time. You must be crazy. It is the same story. We sent Noah to his people. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. Ye have no other God but Him. I fear for you the punishment of a dreadful day." The leaders of his people said, we see thee evidently wandering in mind. He said, "O my people, no wandering is there in my mind. On the contrary, I am a messenger from the Lord and cherisher of the worlds. But I fulfill toward you the duties of my Lord's mission. Sincere is my advice to you, and I know from Allah something that you do not know." To the Ad people we sent who one of their own brother. This is the problem. Maybe they should have sent something different. Not one of the homeboys. We know him. What are you talking about, man? He's a who? You gonna tell? Oh no. He said, "O my people, worship Allah. Ye have no other God but Him. Will you not fear Allah?" The leaders of the unbelievers among His people said, we see thou art an imbecile, and we think thou art a liar. He said, "O my people, I am no imbecile, but I am a messenger from the Lord and cherisher of the world. I but fulfill toward you the duties of my Lord's mission. I am to you a sincere and trustworthy advisor." This is just two almost word for word repetitions of the same thing, and we can find it, as we know, over and over again. That goes back to that psychohistory thing we was talking about the other day. The repetitive, redundant situations and environmental circumstances in life. And that if you can survive the redundancy, the way it don't run you crazy, over and over again, you're going to acquire a feeling of the patterns in history, the trends in nature. You'll feel them. They'll be a part of you. So in our struggle that we have right now in America, our goals, we believe, are related to Allah's mission for us. Like you say, "Hey man, I ain't doing nothing with my Lord's mission." It's not God's mission. Allah don't have no mission. You have to sit down and draw up a plan. Say, "Kun fayakun." Be it is. Right? You and I, that mission is your work and my work, and our mission and our vision, which will form that. our vision of what we want to see. So we actually believe that what kind of goals do we have then? Well, right here in DC, the same one we've been talking about for years, the same reason that we're here right now. Masjid, schools, business, living close together. Okay, now, property over here, we can see transitional housing and that type of thing. That's what it's for. So, our immediate future, this is what we're doing for DC. We have our property here, we have our property over there. So, with a lot of help, that's what we plan to do. So, our goal is to establish a visible center of activity where people can see what Islam is, so they can experience Islam. In time, we'll have all the things that we should have as a people, stores, businesses, and everything else, right here in our own neighborhood. And the beautiful thing about it is people will see us doing it, but they will see us doing it kind of nice, cruising along, not straining and looking crazy, you know what I mean? And of course, regularity, discipline, organization, all those things they'll see us doing. I'm not talking about in a distant future. I'm talking about today. We're doing it already, but big time post-Ramadan, we headed right into and the same thing with California. All our property out there, that's what we're doing. I don't know how much people have sold, but we'll get it back. It don't make no difference. It don't make no difference what they do. We still gonna do the same thing. If we had to go out there and start from scratch, which we don't, but it wouldn't make no difference. When we look at where we are, sometimes we have these old to-do lists, 2007, leadership by encouragement, you know. All these are management tools, leadership tools. This was very good, 2009. Management in Islam, what is that, 97? That's 20 years ago. Don't seem like nothing to us. 20 years, people think 20 years is a good distance. That's a long time for most people. But in this mission, in this movement, 20 years, I don't know what it seemed like, but it don't seem like what 20 years to-do list. That means dealing with harmonizing ill and amal, harmonizing knowledge and work, knowledge and deeds. So all of these talk about planning, organization. What is a plan? A plan is a roadmap that shows the distance between where you are now and where you want to go. It's as simple as that. That's the same thing a paradigm is. A paradigm is a criterion. It's like, actually, that's part of our mission, is to be a criterion for the people. Something that they can weigh and measure and they can see. You know what I mean? That they can